Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a whole new emergency live episode of Full Steam Ahead. I'm your host, Zoe, co-host Cantu on the other side on this fantastic Friday night, which breaking news had happened during the day, maybe around the afternoon, 11 o'clock, almost in the morning, about Christian Walker becoming the Astros first baseman for the 2025 to maybe 27 season. Three
Yeah,
years, $60 million contract.
yeah, it's a movie Astros had to make, and you've been on this guy the entire offseason, so shout out to you. So you've been on Christian Walker since the offseason started, since the Astros were eliminated when we first did What's Next for the Astros, right? So, yeah, I mean, I think the Astros, with the concept of trade, have freed up enough money to kind of fill the two voids they had. The departure of Alex Bregman left the hole in third base. They got Isaac Reyes. They since a few years ago, since Julie Guerrero left, they needed a first baseman, and uh, now they got Christian Walker. Now this is still not a perfect team. They still have a lot of things to fix, but I think it's moving in the right direction. I think the moves are making. I feel like I've been seeing out through social media that with Train Kyle Tucker, it's like kind of like the windows closing and stuff like that. But no, I think the moves are making. They're not putting themselves in debt. Like they're not paying a guy an extortionate amount of money because our history shows, for the most part, long contracts don't work, and they're just getting the money on right. But before we continue any further about what's next, you can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, X, and YouTube. You can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. But I mean, first of all, Lorenzo, how are you doing? And then give us our reaction to the Christian Walker side.
Yeah, we're doing good. Like Angel said, you can follow us all there, and then plus the Spotify and Apple podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts as well. Drop a comment where you listening to, and then two, give us a reaction of everybody's take on this. Well, Christian
Well,
Walker, Houston Astro, man. And like you were mentioned, I mean, I was really on this the whole time.
yeah, I would say, and also in the comment, text leave us a comment. What were you when they signed Christian Walker?
Yeah, that too. Yeah. I was getting ready to go to a service, and that's when it had happened. And it was serious talks. And it was Chandler Rome and Ken Rosenthal had mentioned that it was kind of getting in more serious into getting a deal done. And then like maybe an hour later, when the signing came official. And yeah, like I had mentioned earlier, maybe 3 episodes ago, 4 episodes ago, the whole offseason, like you had mentioned, this is a guy that you want at first base. This is a great defensive player, and the Astros haven't had a great defensive first baseman, like you had mentioned, since Yuli Gurriel left in 2022. Nothing against John Singleton, nothing against Jose Abreu. They did their job. 23, Abreu did his job. 24 kind of did his job, but then had to get DFA'd. John Singleton stepped into the mix and did a good job himself, but the Astros filled a void at first base, and more than anything, that's what they're going to need this past offseason. Of course, Alex Bregman was the number one priority, and we both have emphasized on that so many times in the offseason, but the Astros did give him a fair contract offer. It's up to him if he wants to take it or not. We'll talk about that here in a little bit, but now you pivot away and you kind of focus on what else you need to add. Trading away Kyle Tucker was one. You got a third baseman right there. They were trying to see with Bregman still. Okay, well, there's still being talks kind of like stalled. And then you go after and get one of the best first basemen on the market, I would say. Great offensive numbers. Like I said, the defense is there, and I think that's what's going to make this Houston infield really better. Of course, Jeremy Pena didn't have a good season defensively last season, but I'm pretty sure he'll bounce back. Jose Altuve, Hall of Famer, he has a Gold Glove too. Isaac Paredes is going to be an interesting one at third base because we do have his fielding numbers here, but adding a three-time Gold Glover who's won the award 3 consecutive seasons already, that just upgrades the defense tremendously. So putting him at first, great. Offensively, the numbers are really great as well. I had mentioned it. This is slash line real quick, 251, 335, 468, an OPS of 803 if you did not listen to them. Numbers from the episodes ago, 120 of his hits, 26 home runs, 3.0 WAR, which is top 5 in first basemen in MLB right now with a 119 WRC plus. The strikeout rate's a little high, 24.1, but the BABIP really well, 287. And this is a guy that's gonna love them Crawford boxes in left. He is very pull happy. A lot of doubles at Chase Field, potentially could be home runs at Minute Park at this moment. That's what this stadium's name is called. So I think this is a great fit for the Astros offensively, defensively. Um, it's going to put a great bat in that lineup. Adding that with Jose Altuve, Jordan Alvarez, Isaac Paredes, Yainer Diaz. That's really good. The middle and top part of the order look really solidified right now. Of course, we're not sure if the Astros are done making moves in the offseason, but if this is it, it's better than what we had talked about the last episode. We had mentioned
Mm.
that if the Astros could win the AL West with the lineup we had discussed, and we said no. They went to go get a bat. I think the chances are a little bit better to be competing for first in that AL West now.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree with you, and that was gonna be my point too. When we discussed, like when we broke down the lineup last weekend, it was kind of ugly once you got to the bottom of the order. Like, no offense to any of those guys, I'm sure they can, hit better than us, right? But for major league lineup, the, compared to like the Dodgers, the Mets, the Yankees, like that bottom of the lineup was not great. Now, like you said, adding a guy like Christian Walker certainly increases those chances. And with the addition of Christian Walker, because Eastside Pirates could play first base, that would kind of eliminates Alex Bregman. I don't see Alex Bregman signing with the Astros at all. I think that door is closed unless something miraculous happens, but I doubt it, right? That's basically closed. Uh, I still don't think the Astros are done. I think their next move now can go either ways, and we'll talk about this a little bit more in detail. It's either getting an outfield guy or or more pitching. Uh, Now the thing is with outfielders and pitching too, all the big names are kind of off the table, or like those middle guys where could eat up some innings. Those are almost gone as well. So now they're going to be uh trying to see what fits here, what fits there. But I like the move overall. Like I said earlier, I think it puts the two corner infield voids that they had. Trading Tucker helped that, but it left another hole in the outfield. So that's something that I think they're going to look for something there. But this team certainly got better with the addition of Christian Walker.
Yes, it does. And by adding Christian Walker now, there is kind of a little bit bad news on this side of it. And, Christian Walker coming to the Astros, him declining that qualifying offer. Houston's going to lose its second and fifth highest selections in that 2025 MLB draft. But if Alex Bregman does sign anywhere, let's say Boston, New York, anywhere like that, the Astros will get a comp pick for him after the fourth round of that 25 draft. So, like, I agree with you, Angel. I just do not see Alex Bregman coming back. And I know a lot of Astro fans are really swallowing that really tough right now at that part of it, because this is a guy that you want in your clubhouse. A leadership has been there, gets along with all the fans, a fan favorite. This is a guy that you wanted him to be an Astro for life with Jose Altuve, but Jim Crane and the front office, 6 years. That's where it's going to stay. It's not going to go over 6. It's not going to go 7. It's not going to go 8. It's 6, and that's what I had mentioned before. The problem is at the money, because he's already going to be the highest paid Astro if he decided to take that offer. It was going to be the years, and sure enough, it kind of showed right there in that contract. And then obviously again, Christian Walker, that contract too. I wanted to get your take. 20 AAV, 3 years for a guy that's 33. What do you think about that? I know some Astros fans are kind of thinking of like Jose Abreu, because he was in his mid 30s at that time and he didn't perform like he was thinking. So, I mean, what do you think? My opinion, I think it's still good because he still has the potential. Great defensively. Offensive numbers still look like it's continuing to rise. Maybe it's steadily. Maybe he even gets better hitting at Daikin/Minute Park at this moment.
Yeah, I mean, I think you really can't be too upset on the contract. That's just the market the way it is. The Astros had to make a move. I'm not saying it's a desperation move or anything like that, but it's a move that they need to get this team better. And sometimes you got to pay the price a little bit. Just look at the trade by Denver Brown to get Yusei Kikuchi. I mean, three good minor league players for one pitcher, right? It's just the way the market is. 20 AAV. I mean, Pete Alonso can get a lot more. I know the age is up there, but you're seeing, for example, I know Juan Soto's young right now, but Juan Soto's getting paid more than 20 AAV when he gets to that age too. So it's just It's just the way it is right now. So I'm not too upset at the contract. I think it's a fair contract for both the Astros and Christian Walker.
Are you comparing Christian Walker to Juan Soto?
No, I'm just saying. I'm not.
I
I'm
know, I
just
know.
saying
I'm
money
just
wise.
messing with you. I'm just messing with you. And then per Bob Nigel of the USA Today, he said the Astros finished the season with a payroll of 264.759 million. Angel, wouldn't you love to have that money in your pocket?
Oh yeah, definitely.
But they
I'm
put
sure you would
that.
too.
Oh, hell yeah, of course. I think anybody in this chat that's looking online right now, they would want to have that money in their pockets. But with that being said, and this put the Astros over, 27 million over the competitive balance tax, the CBT threshold for last season, meaning that the Astros are going to be owed about 6.4 million on tax overages. So that's the other thing that I wanted to discuss about is we did discuss is this the Astros are going to be done, and that's when you had mentioned you can either see them going after an outfielder or going after a pitcher, reliever, starter. I don't know which one you wanted to describe a little bit more on that, but before we get to that topic, let me do mention with Christian Walker. I forgot to mention this. He reunites with his third base coach, Tony Perez Chica. And that was another thing we can mention real quick before we do get into the next topic of what would be next for the Astros. That's going to help Isaac Paredes, I would say, at third base because his numbers, fielding percentages wise, is not the best. Fielding run value, if you go StatCast, is not the best for Isaac. But you got a guy now that Joe Espada added to his coaching staff and Tony Perez Chica being the new third base coach. Christian Walker won 3 straight Gold Gloves. He could potentially win a Gold Glove next season, just depending how it goes. So there is hope for that part getting a little bit stronger in the hot corner over there with Paredes. Plus, them two are countrymen. I think Perez Chico was on the Mexico WBC coaching staff when they played the WBC 2 years ago. So there's still hope that Isaac's numbers can kind of like get better, get stronger in the hot corner. I think he's going to be an average third baseman. He's not going to be Alex Bregman, obviously, of course, but he will get the job done, like you had mentioned off the show when we were talking about what we think about it. I'll leave you to your thoughts on that too.
Yeah, it won't just help Isaac Bias, but Jeremy Pena too. I think you saw him take kind of uh, a step backwards when it comes to fielding, like especially coming off that Gold Glove season. And I think adding a guy like Perchica, which again you piloted as a defensive wizard earlier in an earlier podcast as well, can really help elevate Jeremy Pena's game along with Jose Altuve's and uh, the rest of the infield there. Even Mauricio Dubon, because I mean Mauricio Dubon is everywhere too in the outfield and infield, so it can help guys like that.
Yeah, I think the addition of Walker and the addition of Paredes, your corner infielders are safe.
So
What's
it's middle
next?
infielder.
Yeah, and the middle infielder, of course, Altuve and Pena are going to be there. But adding Paredes, great bat. Walker, bat and glove. Potential for Paredes to have a good glove maybe in the next 2 years because the Astros still have him for 3 more years under team control. So, what will be next for the Astros? AJ already kind of hinted on it. Maybe an outfielder, maybe reliever, starting pitcher. In my opinion, I think they got to go after an outfielder. How would that be coming? Is it going to be through a signing? Is it going to be through a trade? Well, there's still, maybe they're still looking at offers for Ryan Presley. Again, that 14 million off his contract would help a lot to sign another player. But as of right now, and then giving you the numbers of the Astros payroll, CBT, and all that, I just don't think maybe signing somebody could be the answer at this moment because of the money situation. I don't know if they want to continue going over the luxury tax and all that, but as of right now, maybe you look at a guy with a 1-year deal like Max Kepler. That would have been a perfect one for the Astros, who signed a 1-year, 10 million deal with the Phillies, and that's a guy that I think would have benefited playing in Houston, and his numbers really say for itself if he's healthy. But you got to look at other guys in the outfield. Like I said, maybe via trade. Are they done? I don't think so. But that were my thoughts. Angel, what do you think outfielding wise, infielders? I think you can take Alex Verdugo off the board. I think you could take Who's another guy? Well, I had him, Verdugo. I had Kepler, Verdugo, and Santander. Santander is going to be a
Yeah,
hefty contract, so you can take him off the board as well.
yeah. I think right now they're a little handcuffed because of that Presley contract, and honestly, that guy we're not mentioning too because of the Rafael Montero contract too. That he's getting like a hefty amount of money too.
Jose
But
Ray.
yeah, Jose Ray too. However, I mentioned this in the previous podcast. I don't know which one. If you look at the four AL and NLCS teams and the two World Series teams, those are teams that spend a lot of money. That go way over the luxury tax to win ball games. And
Mhm.
at this point, that's showing a recipe for success. So, yes, I know you mentioned they're over the luxury tax, but if they're serious about winning, they have to spend. They have to spend. They have to find the pieces there. Jim Crane kind of showed that he's willing to go over the tax by signing Josh Hader, but after that, he was like didn't want to go a little too over. I think they were what 19 million over at the time last year. You said they're 27 over now. I mean, that amount just keeps going higher. But they need to find a way to sign an outfielder. I'm thinking maybe Jesse Windsor. Oh, go
Real
ahead.
quick, just to add on to that,
Mhm.
if Alex Bregman would have signed this contract 5 years, 156 million, you haven't really signed anybody just till now, maybe with Christian Walker at the moment. They did trade Kyle Tucker. They got their pieces from that trade. I'm just doing the math on the side right now. 156 minus 60. The Astros could spend 96 million if they still wanted to on a contract, and maybe Anthony Santander could be right there in that 90, million part. Maybe Teoscar Hernandez as well. But with them right now, they're looking at years on their deal. I think
Yeah.
Santander wanted a 5-year deal. Teoscar wanted a 3-year deal.
How much AAV would Bregman get on that contract?
I believe it was 26. If I was not, let me see. I could double check for you. I think it was
I, th-
26.
I think it was 26. I mean, yeah. I mean, and if years are the issue, then
26.
26. So if years are the issue, I mean, then Teoscar Hernandez works. Santander works because that meets the criteria the Astros are not wanting to go over 6 years. So I mean, it works, but I don't see the Astros signing him unless Jim Crane decides to open up his wallets, in a unprecedented time, right? Just because I don't see it happening. But you're looking at guys that are going to do that are stars in their own right. They're not going to be the guys that are household names, but they're going to be guys that are reliable and get the job done. And I think Jesse Winkler is one of those guys. He's 31 years old, career 62 hitter. He was an All Star in 2021, and he is really good. He's really good at bringing in runs, and he is plays really good defense. He's an 89 percentile on batting run value, 97 arm value, and 96% walks. So he's gonna get on like 96 percentile on walks too. So he's gonna get on base, great defense, and he can hit the ball when it counts. So I think that's what the Astros were lacking on last year, situational hitting, and I think Jesse Winkler excels in that.
So Jesse Winker's a guy that you can put your eye
Yeah,
on. More than anything, I think any player in the free agent market that's not looking at them multi-year deals could possibly look at the 1-year deals. Look at a guy like Eloy Jimenez. I know Eloy's numbers, when he's healthy, he's a really
yeah,
good player, but man, he's just been injured every season he's been with the White Sox. I mean, I can't really vouch for him to be a good asset to bring in for the Astros, but that's a guy that has the power, very young at 28 still. You could put him in left field as well. So I don't know if they can. That more than likely they're going to be looking at 1-year deals if they're going to sign anybody in the free agent market. Tommy
even
Pham, that's another
Austin
good name
Hayes.
too. Austin Hayes is another one. Possibly you could bring back Jason Hayward too, 35 years old. I mean, he didn't all right in Houston, but yeah, I mean, them are the guys, not really the guys, but those are the type of names that you're going to see in the free agent market. Maybe the Astros can flirt with on a 1-year deal. I saw a name out there, Randall Grichuk. He played with Arizona as well.
Yeah,
he made his voice open over there at Minute Maid Park in BP. That dude hitting home runs onto the train tracks. Like that dude has a lot of pop. So if anything, the Astros are going to be looking at 1-year deals. And if that doesn't happen, you can look at the trade market again. I think they're not opposed from looking at it. So, in my opinion, that's what I think the Astros are going to be looking at.
Would you be surprised if they sign a player like Jackson Profar or even Verdugo, like you mentioned, or Santander?
It just depends on the player. If they're going to want to go to 1-year, 2-year deals, maybe. But Verdugo's still a young cat.
Yeah.
Profar coming a great All-Star season, winning his first Silver Slugger award. I'm pretty sure he made. No, I don't think he made it to an All MLB team, but he really played well in San Diego. So those guys are going to, try to. At least Profar is going to try to bounce on that money. Verdugo, on the other hand, I don't know if he wants the years on a deal, because some players look at that. So I'd be shocked if the Astros do land some type of guys like that.
Okay. And then we do have some comments coming in. This is an uncapped sport. I wish Crane would go over the 6-year threshold. Not good for morale for keep letting homegrown players go, and it's Nike Park now. So
No, sir. No, sir. It ain't Dyken Park yet. Minute Maid Park all the way till December 31st. After December 31st, then we'll start calling it Dyken Park. So appreciate you looking out for me. Appreciate that.
I'm gonna go back to this comment. What do you think about this? Not good for morale, keeping letting homegrown players go. I guess we can get back to 10. I think the players understand this is a business first. Yes, it sucks losing a guy like I'm sure the clubhouse sucks losing a guy like Alex Bregman, but at the end of the day, the players understand it's a business. They understand, that's out of their control, and they're gonna play with the 9 guys they have on the field, and they're gonna, they're professionals. They're gonna do what they gotta do.
Yeah, like you hit it right there. It's a business at the end of the day. Got to remember these guys are there for 7+ years. You don't get that in the NBA. You don't get that in the NFL. NFL and NBA, I want to say, are like 3 to 4 years that they're staying with the team that drafted them. Baseball is a different freaking level. You're there for 7 years. So, yeah, I think for every Astros fan, it just sucks seeing guys like Carlos Correa, George Springer, Kyle Tucker, Alex Bregman. You hate to see that. I know I've been seeing it on Twitter and X, Instagram, like all social media of those core 4 at least of Bregman, Altuve, and Springer. Yeah, it sucks. And it's the funny part about this is that Jose Altuve has been there since 2012. Whenever he entered the league, he went through with all these guys, and not like any of them are going to be there for the end of his career, I would say.
That just shows you how special and Jose Altuve is and what he means to this ball club.
Yeah, definitely. So, then yeah, at the end of the day, it's just a business. I think every baseball player knows that, and they got to do what's right for their family at the end of the day, because it's a business. They want to get whatever they can to secure for the future, not just for them, but for their families.
I know we've been talking a lot about the outfield. I mean, and by all means, we should, because it's a need. It wouldn't be an Astros podcast without talking about the needs that the Astros have in outfield. It's a big need. What do you think is more likely will happen? The Astros sign an outfielder or get some more pitching help at either a relief pitcher or a starting pitcher?
It's a tough one. They have a lot of pitching, I would say. When they have health, we talked about in the last one, if they have all their pitchers healthy, they got 9 starting pitchers. They still got some in-house guys that can help out too. Not in-house, but like in the relieving role, they still got that core there. The part is, I just don't, man, it'd be tough if they sign a free agent. That's like, it's kind of like you're in the middle of this one, because I know for sure the Astros just can't go out there with Mauricio Dubon, Chas McCormick, and Jake Myers. Nothing against those guys. Great guys, by the way. But I just do not see a lineup of those 3 men. Adding Taylor Trammell, too, to this platoon is going to be good for the outfield. They're going to need somebody. I don't know if it'll be a veteran. Maybe adding Ben Gamel back, too, to Houston. He did a really good job back whenever He came from waivers for the Astros, did a really good job stepping in for them when Kyle Tucker was hurt. But man, it's kind of in the middle for this one because we talked about the money and the players, but then with the relievers too, it's like I think they stay the same. Farm system, thinking about it now, Jacob Melton's the only guy I have at the top of my head for the outfield. I know there were some players that Dana Brown had mentioned after the season had ended that could step up in the farm system. I just don't have them at the top of my head. But maybe some in-house guys can step in and fill that void. And I know Spencer Arrighetti did that last season. Who's another guy that did it last season as well? I mean, that's how it was. That's how it was
Next
for
man up.
the Astros doing that last season, just trying to figure out ways. But man, I don't. That's a good question. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I'm in the
I'll,
middle of it.
I'll say I'll say this: if the Astros are serious, want to be serious contenders for World Series, we know they can win the AL West because they've showed it last year. They showed it 2 years ago too. Honestly, like the past 2 years, the Astros team, I think for only a short period of time have they been 100%, and they've had to kind of use that next man up mentality and plug in guys here. So we know they can win the AL West. However, if they want to be a serious contender for a World Series, I think they have to basically not sign players long term, but spend money is what I'm trying to say. Like
Mhm.
I get it. The years make sense because Jim Crane doesn't want to have a bad contract. Like for example, I think the biggest example would be like Albert Pujols contract, right? You signed a guy for 10 years with the Angels and didn't work out. Anthony Rendon is another guy who didn't work out. Same team, right, with the Angels. So that's what he's trying to avoid uh, by not signing someone over 6 years. However, if that's going to be their mentality, then they're going to have to be willing to overpay a little bit or go with a luxury tax a little bit on those 3 year, 4 year contracts because as of right now, I think they can beat, like for example, the Tigers. I mean, the Tigers beat them this year, right? But I think like if they had another chance, I think they could beat like the AL Central teams. But those big spender teams that are in the AL, I think they'll have a tough time beating them in a 4 games out of 7.
Yeah. I think the AOS is still open for grabs. We can talk about this here in a second. But yeah, I think if they do want to be serious contenders, which I mean they're going to be contenders regardless. 7 straight ALCS is kind of snapped by Tigers last season, but they've made the playoffs every season since 2017. So they have that longevity. They know how to build through it with a subpar farm system. They know how to get their way in. They got veterans that's been there. Altuve, Alvarez. Now you're adding some guys like Paredes and Walker. Walker making it to the World Series for his first time in his career in 23. Paredes haven't made it to the. I don't think he has actually made it to the playoffs. I know he's made to
With
the
the
All
Rays,
Star.
I think.
Has he?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, got guys that can potentially step up in that role. But 3 years, I would say, is fair for an outfielder to come into Houston and you know do what they can.
Yeah. We love the comments coming in. It says, can Sandra play left field? We also have one that says that the good thing is that none of the departures have stung by Houston so far.
So far.
Tucker said NL, so you want to fight the playoff pecking order. So yeah, I also say he's worried about the Mariners and pitching. Hopefully they trade Castillo. Honestly, this year I'm not too worried about the Mariners. They haven't been making a lot of moves. I mean, they still have a great squad out there, but I think they're still having some missing pieces like the third baseman. I think that could be a team that can be on in for
Bregman.
Bregman too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah. I mean, the thing with the Mariners, and I feel bad for Seattle fans, is they have a legitimate team, dude. We talked about their pitching throughout that season last year,
yeah,
probably even 2 years ago too. We talked about their
they're
pitching
still
saying,
gonna be
man,
good.
it's one of the best in Major League Baseball. But that offense is just not good. And they were ranked like bottom of the barrel last season in many categories. Their superstar player wasn't playing to the potential that he was last year. The only player that I'd say that was really good was Cal Riley.
Yeah.
their catcher winning. I think he won the Platinum Glove, if not my mistaken, this
I
year
think so.
for the Rawlings Award. So yeah, them two guys have been pretty much their offense. After that, who do you put? They don't got
I
Jorge
mean,
Polanco no more. Josh Rojas is gone. Luke Rayleigh's still there. JP Crawford's there. JP Crawford didn't hit really well. Same goes for Rayleigh. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I agree with you. You're not worried about the Mariners unless they start making moves this
I mean,
offseason. And probably
they
making
still
a move at Bregman could be a
yeah
good start.
they still have Julio Rodriguez and Randy Rosarena, but again,
Okay. How about
and
Cowboy Randy?
yeah, I mean they have like a three-headed monster, you could say, right? Kyle Riley, Julio Rodriguez, and Randy Rosarena. But after that, it's like who's next, right? So you're right. Like Bregman will make a great addition for the Mariners, and I wouldn't be surprised if they go all in, knowing that there's limited people. Also, they might try to go all in on Pete Alonso too. I mean, they have the money to spend. It's just are they willing to spend it?
And Tony made a good point with the pitching. Hopefully they trade Castillo because that's what they've been talking about. The rumors, at least, with Luis Castillo or starting pitcher from the Mariners to trade for Tristan Casas in Boston.
Okay. So that first baseman need that they because they're like the Astros, honestly. They need corner infield help.
Yeah. So let's end the show with this. Y'all can throw in the comments too. The projected starting lineup, I'm just going through my head. I don't have anything right in front of me. Would be Jose Altuve, Isaac Paredes, Jordan Alvarez, Christian Walker, Yiner Diaz. Am I missing anybody? Jeremy Pena. Jeremy Pena could be there. Mauricio Dubon, Chas McCormick, and Jake Myers.
I agree with you. I'm just switching. Isaac
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm not I'm just throwing the lineup just like that. My question is, now we asked this the last podcast episode, whenever the trade had happened, do the Astros have a good chance of winning the division in the American League West? And if so, what's the playoff chances for them? Do they look like a wild card team? If they do win the division, obviously they're going to be either first or second or third seed. But your thoughts? Does this lineup have the chance to win the division?
To win the division is certainly increasing their chances, I would say. Having that extra bat. Now competing, I think at this point they'll probably be eliminating the ALDS or ALCS.
Just like that.
Yeah. I'd say if they had a better outfielding bat, then I think they'll be a World Series team.
What about subpar bats, as in guys like Emmanuel Margot, a Tommy Pham, a Ben Gamel? I mean, could those guys be kind of a little bit effective than the players that the Astros already have?
But what changes when you add those guys? You still have Chas McCormick, you still have Jake Myers. It's literally the same, kind of the same player, just a different name.
So what guys would you add if we're not talking about the high guys like Teoscar and Anthony? I know you mentioned Jesse Winker, Austin Hayes. Would you say those guys can have a big effect on the lineup, potentially a little bit better going into the postseason?
I think so. I think they missed out on some guys like they could have signed a 1-year deal with, like Brian De La Cruz. I think that would have been the Braves got him, but I think that would have been a great one.
Former Astros prospect, by the way, too.
Yeah, like a little prove-it deal. I like Michael Conforto too. I think those are guys that could have helped offensively and defensively. They just waited too long to get those guys, with the Bregman situation, stuff like that. And I think Jackson Profile is going to be out of Jackson Profile, Alex Verdugo, and who was the other one you mentioned? Oh, and Santander. I think Profile might be the cheapest option out of those three. So I think that's the guy you kind of need to add or would want to add.
I don't think he minds coming back to Texas. I interviewed him at the All-Star game. Big guy on Texas Roadhouse. Loves Roadhouse steaks.
Okay, so, there you go.
That could be a little pointer bringing him into Houston if you wanted to.
The Astros have to set the meeting at Texas Roadhouse now.
From all the things at Roadhouse, you would think it'd be like the rolls that they bring with that cinnamon butter. Nah, that man, he said, nah, give me the steaks. But my thoughts, this team does have the potential to win the division with a 5-game cushion. we've seen the past seasons with Seattle, Texas. It comes down to the literally last week of the season for them to win the game. But with this lineup, I do think they have a good chance of winning the division going into the postseason. Like you mentioned, ALDS, ALCS, it just depends how they line up. Too, of course, if everybody's healthy. But yeah, ALDS or ALCS, I'm going to agree with you. I think it's not a World Series team until they do, if they're going to add a bat. If they add a bat or they trade for a bat, then this team can actually contend in the World Series, trying to get that third championship ring. But Astroworth Craig did make a good point. Can DeZenzo play left field? I know you had mentioned it already. This is a kid you might have to just keep your eye out. Keep your eye out on him. We had kind of quote tweeted on one of them that he was hitting 361. He played a little bit of games at first base. He's played some games at left field. Even last season, he was taking some BP in the outfield with Omar Lopez. So that's a kid to just keep your eye out on. He did really well in the Puerto Rican Winter League. So I wouldn't be opposed to maybe giving DeZenzo some chances. Of course, they said they were going to kind of take it easy with Yordan Alvarez in the outfield, but let's think about it. This kid's so young. Maybe the power improved and the contact and everything, the hitting abilities improved over there in Puerto Rico. That could be a great addition for the Astros to not and go spin on a guy like that. I think the Astros too are hoping for Chas McCormick to come back like he did in 2023, having 20 plus home runs, 70 something RBIs, 20 stolen bases. So I think that's what the Astros can work with if they don't go and sign a guy or trade for a guy. Then you got a guy like Zach DeZenzo and Chas McCormick.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a wait and see now.
Will we get 20 home runs combined out of the outfield, Tony says?
That'll be
Jordan
Alvarez. That'll be Jordan Alvarez.
Nah, you can't add Jordan. You can't add Jordan. But no, it's doable. That's very doable. I think, like I just mentioned, Chas McCormick had 20 plus in 23. So think about it. Chas McCormick could get back into that form. I mean, that's just one player. But I think you could get that from Dubon. You get that from Myers and McCormick. You can even throw Trammell in that mix if you can get one from him.
I don't see Dubon hitting double-digit home runs.
I mean, I didn't say he's hitting double-digit home runs. He's saying 20 home runs combined, my friend.
Gotcha. All right.
And then Astroworth Craig, division winner as is, even better with an outfielder. So he agrees with both of us on that. And this is another good question. We could just end it just like this. Potential lineups for the Yankees and Astros. I could read the Yankees lineup real quick. Potentially Anthony Volpe, Jazz Chisholm, Aaron Judge, Cody Bellinger, Giancarlo Stanton, Austin Wells, Jason Dominguez, Oswaldo Cabrera, and Ben Rice. Which of those lineups look better to have their chances at a World Series title?
I think they kind of break even there because I think both teams at top of the lineup kind of scary. I think the Astros have a better lineup. I'm not just saying that because of because it's just a question mark with Giancarlo Stanton. Which Giancarlo Stanton are you going to get? Playoff Giancarlo Stanton, which was phenomenal in the playoffs, honestly.
This
or regular season Giancarlo Stanton, who strikes out a lot to get those big home runs, but is he going to stay healthy too? So I would say advantage Astros, but very slim. Like it's almost kind of borderline.
I would go opposing on you. I'm gonna go with the Yankees. I think the Yankees lineup is a little bit slight, like you're saying, just slightly have an advantage for the Astros. I think the Yankees have a slight advantage just for that Jason Dominguez kid. This kid has been a top 100 prospect for I don't know how many seasons now. But that time that he made his MLB debut in Houston, he had 2 home runs in back-to-back games. The future is bright on that kid, and that's why I think that lineup, of course, having Aaron Judge. And I think Jazz Chisholm giving him a whole season in Yankee Stadium, I think that's going to be better for him. Like you mentioned, it does come if Giancarlo does hit right. Same thing goes for Cody Bellinger. If Cody Bellinger could hit how he did on his contract year, then I mean, the big time advantage the Yankees. So, Yeah, of course, there's still some great teams out there in the American League. Cleveland, don't sleep on them. Detroit potentially could be making some moves too. And don't sleep on that too, being Alex Bregman potential
Mhm.
destination for him. So American League's just
And
wide open now. It's not going through Houston. It's none that no more. It's wide open. It is wide open.
speaking speaking of Yankees, I don't know if you heard, but they did like Cody Bellinger's wife was Giancarlo Stanton's ex-wife too, so that drama there, I guess you can say.
Also, just a little bit of news too. Jose Trevino, Corpus
Oh
Christi
yeah, I saw
native,
that.
got traded to the Cincinnati Reds for 2 minor league players in return for the Yankees. So give credit to the Yankees. They have been making moves this offseason just like that. After Juan Soto decided to leave, Cashman got on the phone. He's like, all right, I want Max Fried. I want Cody Bellinger in this trade, which they really didn't give up a lot. $5 million in return too with Bellinger. Of course, that contract they got to look out for. And then there's another player I can't think of at the. Let me see. No, I can't think. I know they have another play. Oh, Max Fried, Cody Bellinger. Is there another one?
What moves? Cody
Yeah,
Bellinger. Sorry, I was reading the comment. Think Max Fried. We talked about that one. Then there's one
I,
more guy.
I do feel like there's one more guy. Of course, we don't have it on us, but end of our show.
That's it.
Cantu going
Mm,
TMZ
That's
with
why I got
Cantu.
distracted. I was reading the comment.
Oh, there it is. Thank you, Tony. Yankees got Devin
Oh,
Williams as
Devin
their closer.
Williams. Yes, Devin. I knew there was one more guy.
Be interested to see him in action because the Astros didn't get to see him whenever Milwaukee came into town. He was dealing with that oblique injury, I want to say.
They also brought back Jonathan Loaiza too.
Yeah, another bullpen piece. So
Yeah.
happy holidays to you too, Astro Wolf Craig. That's another thing we're going to talk about too. The holidays is coming around. Of course, December 24th, 25th is going to be on a Tuesday, Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken, Angel. Correct?
Uh, Christmas Eve on Tuesday, Christmas Day on
Yeah, Christmas Day
Wednesday.
on Wednesday. So of course we usually do our recordings on Tuesday and Monday. We're gonna just go after that. Possibly we're looking at Thursday or Friday. If another Astro move happens on another Friday, because last Friday was the Kyle Tucker trade, and this Friday was Christian Walker signed with the Astros. So if there's any other big news, maybe we'll throw a little mini episode out. But if I don't think we'll probably be doing an episode before Christmas. So continue to follow us on our social media platforms, like Angel had mentioned, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Then you won't miss all the new interviews we'll be getting out pretty soon for the next upcoming season. Players, coaches, all that good stuff. FSA Full Steam Ahead on Instagram. And of course, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get them. Make sure you go and hit that download and follow button as well. Angel, you got anything before we sign off on this beautiful, fantastic Friday? And appreciate everybody listening to us on this late
No,
night.
it's just happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. Uh, and I know Lorenzo did say maybe a Thursday or Friday recording, but if we do not end up doing it, Happy New Year to you too as well.
Yeah, I forgot Christmas. I mean, not Christmas, New Year's, even New Year's Day is
Yeah.
going to be on the same day. So, yeah, if we don't talk to y'all then, happy holidays. If we, like you mentioned, if we're not here by New Year's, then happy New Year. We'll be going into 2025 really good. And like we mentioned, new interviews, players, coaches, all that good stuff is going to be coming too. Until then, y'all stay safe. Have a blessed night. Y'all stay safe on this weekend as well. Texas do play the Chiefs Angels. Don't forget that. Till then, we'll see y'all later.
Peace.